Hi there and welcome back to Japan, where I'm going to be giving you my reaction and review to Scandal's new song Living in the City and the short video that goes with it. Now, as we have to do now on the channel, I've just done the reaction. If you want to watch the reaction with me, hear the song with me, then pause this video, click the link in the description below. It'll open up a separate little YouTube player where you can watch that with me first. Otherwise, I'm going to give you my review if you've already heard the song. So pause this video and watch the reaction by clicking the link in the description below if you need to. Otherwise, here's the review. Okay, so this was kind of an interesting one because I didn't know what to expect. And one of the things I'm quite enjoying about Scandal, having only heard 2 albums from them, the most recent and the original first album, is that they do have that capacity that a lot of these pop rock bands have to be very playful, to have any sort of sound. You know, you never know 100% what sort of sound they're going to go for because they're kind of free to do a lot of things. And that's one of the reasons why I really enjoyed Kiss from the Darkness. I mean, I'm going to be giving my full track-by-track review. Well, I've done a track-by-track review. I'm going to be giving my conclusion to that review sometime soon in the next couple of weeks. But as a general, I think most people who saw my reactions to that know that I basically quite liked that album in a very similar but also very different way from the original Best Scandal album. So listening to this, it was pleasing that it had its own unique identity, and yet at the same time still sounded like Scandal. It had their quality for being somewhat funky and bouncy. It had the guitar in it, but the guitar was not overbearing, as seems to be the case in a lot of their songs. You know, they don't go overly distorted, but they know how to give the guitar a little bit of crunch. It had, like I say, a sort of nice funky feel. Now, there was a few things that I mentioned during the reaction, which I'm just going to quickly cover now, which is, first of all, like I say, the vocal thing was interesting for me. The song was clearly set up, and I know this is a short version, so there's probably more in the full version that I haven't heard. But from what I could see here, it had a nice setup of being very simple. I mean, the verse is just a 2-chord dum 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 dum, backwards forwards between 2 chords, and in amongst that, there's very little complication in the music, which is obviously a deliberate and conscious choice to make this simple, funky, kind of relaxing, you know, and in that way it works. You just kind of get quite calmed down, which works with the video. The video, obviously, sort of homemade videos, just showing people kind of a bit bored, living in the city, but not quite living because they're kind of locked down inside. Like, you know, lyrics about things like Wi-Fi and Netflix always give you a bit of a giggle. It's very much of the time, as I said, very much of the times. So there was a real feeling that, you know, the tone of the song was clearly set and that worked. And the little sort of rap vocals that went along was done very lightly as well. And I liked that. But because it was very simple in the verse, because it was all very simple, you know, it was deliberately designed, obviously, to be fairly bare bones and relaxing and not so pushy, just sort of like, you know, kind of turn over in an almost hypnotic way. It meant that you were kind of looking forward to the chorus being either something which would be very memorable or which would really sort of punch through. And in a way it did, because I liked the melody of the chorus. I liked the feel of it. But at that point, really, the auto-tune should have been dropped. Now, I'm going to point this out. As you guys know, we've had so much talk, especially on the previous channel before it got closed and we had to restart everything. I am not the biggest defender of auto-tune, but I certainly believe that it doesn't kill a song necessarily, and it can often be used in a very good way. I defended both at roughly the same time. From Kiss from Darkness, it was Saishu Heiki Kimi, and also at the same time I was defending Knife by Silent Siren. Both songs that use quite heavy auto-tune. However, I felt in both cases, it felt like it was kind of like a creative choice. It matched the tone of both songs. And both songs were sort of, okay, they were pop rock, but they were on the heavier side. They had a sort of intensity to them. And in a way, it just felt like it kind of worked with the sort of bombastic, loud sound of them both. This song, the whole basis of this song is sort of light, airy, relaxed feel, and that's why auto-tune just seems so out of place in this. You kind of want to hear, I mean, the whole way she's singing is very relaxed, it's very sort of chilled out, it's very natural, and that's kind of the point. You know, you get a very sort of natural, relaxed feeling from this song, like you're listening to someone chilling out at home, just kind of jamming to you, just kind of talking to you. So when auto-tune goes in there, it just feels totally out of place. I mean, often, as I said, and we had polls on the previous channel before as well. Unfortunately, they've been lost when it was closed down as well. Accidentally hit something, don't worry. And most of I had a poll about what do people think of autotune. Don't get too stuck on this subject, but just to cover, we were saying, out of the people who absolutely think it's awful and should never be used, was only about 20%. And everyone else was varying degrees of, it's either okay or I like it as a creative choice. And I do believe that it can be used like any other effect as just a creative choice, the same as you use distortion on a guitar. But in the same way that this song did not use particularly heavily distortion, I mean, if this had been played through like heavy metal amps, it would have sounded really off tonally. That's kind of how the autotune felt. It was like, why are we doing this? So... yeah, a little bit of a concerning thing. I hope they're not just sort of doing it as part of their sound now. I'd like to think it's a conscious choice that they used when appropriate rather than all the time. Anyway, that said, the chorus, like I say, otherwise it was good melody. It came with a nice sort of burst. It really felt like the song sort of did hit its choral crescendo. I want to say crescendo, but obviously, like I said, I'm assuming in the full version of the song there's more than one chorus. But it worked. And then it went down to that bit afterwards where it played out in just sort of like a nice, again, going back to that hypnotic instrumental that underpins the verse, but with a sort of spoken phone conversation. Again, very much in keeping with the tone. And also strangely relaxing. It was kind of just the way it was panned, voices either side and, not too loud in the mix. And, the speech wasn't rambly like mine. It just felt kind of nice, very incidental. It was a good effect, the way that they put that, phone conversation over the top of the song. So I gotta admit, I really enjoyed pretty much the whole setup of this song. And even as a tiny little, just over 2 minute song, I mean, it felt much shorter, which is always a sign of a good song. It felt like it was just over a minute, but actually it was over 2 minutes, which means that, there's plenty of singles out there, which are, sort of 2 minutes 20 or whatever this was. So, it didn't feel like it needed to be much longer. However, if they have got a full version, I hope it's not massively longer than this, because like I say, it feels like a nice little tight, relaxing interlude, just a nice little piece. And I also think because its whole basis is this idea of a sort of simple, hypnotic, rolling around, relaxing, well, I say hypnotic, but kind of relaxing version of hypnotic, someone can think of a better word for me. Because it's got that tone, I don't really think it needs to be too long. It just kind of works as a nice little thing. So on so many levels, I really like this. And I'm going to say, like I said, I don't often do this. I'm not one of these people who's waving a flag for anti-autotune at all. But for me, the autotune did actually kill this song. Otherwise it's really good. I really like it. I would gladly listen to that again. In fact, I would probably, despite its simplicity, I'd probably seek that out as just a chilled out song if I just need something to relax me. But yeah, the autotune actually killed it for me. So, it wasn't even lightly used. It was used really heavily. So I gotta say, I'm kind of really disappointed by that. Because otherwise I really like this song and I want to listen to it again, but I know it's going to bother me every time I listen to it. So that's probably going to stop me listening to this song again. Shame. Really good. Good work from them as a band. I don't know who produced this, but someone needs to knock on their door and have a little talk. Because, like I say, I defended Saisho Hei. I always pronounce it wrong. Saisho Hei Kikimi. I always defended that song because, as far as I was concerned, it just sounded like a good creative choice. This now almost throws that into question. Because it seems like this was such a frivolous usage that it seems almost to throw that song that I really like into question. As was that a lazy choice as well? Was this a lazy choice? Did they actually think this was the best way to do it? Because like I say, everything about this is so tonally perfect, so on point. Especially considering the current mood. This is the sort of song that I think a lot of people would really enjoy. I'm belaboring this point too much. I just think that kills it for me. The video was something of a non-entity, but in a way that worked. Again, very much of the time, a lot of people are putting out these sort of we're at home style music videos, and this was nice because rather than them just sitting around playing, which a lot of people have done, which is nice, don't get me wrong, this was kind of following that tone, and I think the whole song's tone was that feeling of just kind of, well, I'm at home. we have to be at home, wash them hands. So yeah, I'm going to say that for this one, the video, Whereas usually I go, oh, it was a bit too simple. This one was very much in keeping with the tone. So like I say, I'm going to conclude this one before I keep on banging the same drum too much. I really like this. I thought it was tonally really on point. I thought it was very much of the time. I thought it was nicely crafted. Even though I say it's a short version, I don't actually think it needs to be any longer, but hopefully the long version isn't too much longer, doesn't overly drag it out like I'm doing with my point, which I'm about to make, which is, once again, I've got to say, the one thing that makes it unlikely that I'm going to listen to this again is the rather bewildering use of auto-tune, which is a shame because otherwise I'm pretty sure I would listen to this again of my own fruition, without being pushed or reminded. I would be like, yeah, I could use that chilled out Scandal song, Living in the City. Oh, well, there we go. So basically, overall, quite a compliment. I would say I like this. I really like this. As always, let's see what you guys think, though. So get in the comments, tell me what you think. Let me know. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Whether you be a Scandal fan or not, whether this is the first time you've heard this song or not, let me know. Also, hey, if you know more about the full version, you think it's worth me checking out the full version for a little bit more perspective, tell me. And as always, if you really want to get involved in the chat, we've got our Discord, Reddit, all the social medias linked in the description below as well, where you found the reaction video, hopefully a minute ago. And obviously a big thank you to our Patreon supporters for keeping this channel looking so good with the posters and stuff and the lights and things. So a big thank you to them, and you're welcome to join them as well if you want. But either way, whether you do or don't, thank you for making it through to the end of this video. And until I see you hopefully soon on the next one, for now, ciao, ciao.